Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. And of course, it's Wednesday evening, so we'll have Rich Levinsky here in just a minute talking about consultants in the workplace and how things have changed lately. And he always has some phenomenally interesting observations about what's going on in the marketplace. What I wanted to talk about in this session is something I hear probably 3 to 4 times a week. And it has to do with candidates, especially, that don't do very well in the interviewing process and then come up with the excuse of, well, whatever will be, will be. I even had a candidate the other day say, well, it was God's will. And if it was meant to be, then it was meant to be. And they use this as an excuse for why they didn't get a job or why they didn't do really well in an interviewing situation. And they chalk it up to, well, whatever will be, will be. Now, let me ask you, do you think that Matthew Stafford or Steph Curry use that excuse when they lose? Well, it was just meant to be. Matthew Stafford throws an interception and goes to the sideline and chalks it up to, well, it was meant to be. Hogwash. They don't do that. They lose a game. They don't do well in a play. They look back and they say, doggone it, I should have done that better. What could I have learned from that? And what are the lessons that I need to get so that the next time I'm in a situation like that, I don't have to make that mistake? I really get tired of it. Now, I have a lot of empathy for it. I understand. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we don't do as well as we should. I have a lot of empathy for that, and I really understand it. But to chalk it up to, well, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be, that just lets yourself off the hook of saying, okay, what could I have done better in that interviewing situation? This happened the other day with a candidate. I sent 2 candidates to a client, and on paper, one of them was fantastic. The other one was really good, but the second one was pretty darn fantastic. Her background, her experience, everything was really right on. She didn't do much research on the company. She went into the interview with the idea of, well, I'm not sure I want to do this. I don't know about this. I'm not sure about that. And she really didn't try to sell herself as hard as she could have. She didn't do any research on the company. And it was clear when she got into the interview that she hadn't done any research on the company, because she didn't realize that they were in 2 or 3 different kinds of businesses other than what she was interviewing for. And her attitude when she came out of it, and I gave her feedback that the employer hiring authority liked her, but she hadn't done much research and really didn't try to sell herself very hard. And then she came up with that proverbial, well, whatever it is, it is. Whatever will be, will be. And it was all an excuse because she didn't really try hard. The first candidate that I sent had the same concerns, but she went in there and sold herself like it was the last job on earth. So who do you think they're having back to try to hire? Please don't fall prey to that. Now, I understand. If you go out and you give it your all, you give it everything you've got, and leave it all on the floor, as they say in basketball, give it everything you have, Do your dead level best. And then if you don't win the job or you don't win the game, I understand. I still wouldn't use the excuse of, well, what will be, will be. You just lost. You got beat. Somebody did better than you did. And that's the way it works sometimes. You're not going to win every game. But to use the excuse of, well, whatever, and it wasn't meant to be, is just a way of excusing yourself from not doing better. You do the very best you can and you don't win, then okay, I understand. That's going to happen, and it's going to happen to all of us. Sometimes we're not on our game like we should be. But we have to look back and find out what we could do to do better the next time and learn from it. Here's the mistakes I made. Here's where I could have done better. Sometimes you can't do any better than you do. Okay, fine. I need to be graceful about the loss. I need to be graceful about what happened and chalk it up to the next time I'm going to do better. But letting yourself off the hook by claiming that whatever will be, and it just, was meant to be, is really irritating. And it's sad because we don't learn that way. How could I have done better? Now, second candidate I had actually called the hiring authority and tried to ask him, she hasn't gotten him yet, where could she have done better? What could she have done better to get the opportunity? All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.